send my stream out before I start this. Let's see. Gonna wait a second before I start. You know what I'm saying? Start my shit. I ain't streamed in a minute. Okay. It's my first fucking stream since I moved and shit. I'm about to get back on my shit though. Turn my shit sideways. Pull up the fucking website I'm about to be using to look at these free agents. Damn, drop my phone. That's tough. Oh shit. Alright. God damn. Fuck in my eye. Finna get on started with this. Damn, what the fuck is in my eye? My shit really all types of fucked up. Alright, anyways, we gonna go just straight down the list with it. I might skip a few people if they bums, and I don't really give a fuck where they going, so I might just go ahead and do that. But we gonna start from the top. CP3. Let's go ahead and click his thing. Chris Paul. I think it's pretty obvious that, you know, it's the furthest he's been. Like, he can't get no further than where he got this season, and that's the finals. I don't think that they can get there again because the West is gonna be tough. I don't think they make it again, but I do think he'll resign there just because, one, I can't think of a better fit for him at this point in his career. Like, the Suns are gonna bring him back just due to the fact that, you know, he already has chemistry with them. You know, they just went to the finals. He's helping their young players out like Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton. You know, he's that veteran that they need up until he retires, and then somebody else can be that veteran, which is most likely going to be Devin Booker. So they'll most likely bring him back instead of letting him walk to another team and bringing another point guard to run the show that they don't have chemistry with, or, you know, they just won't fit. Like, and you'll have to pay basically the same amount because this fucking point guard class, they're expensive. So I think that Chris Paul is gonna probably he's gonna opt out of his player option, and he's gonna re-sign with the Suns. So that's my first prediction. Let's talk about the biggest free agent of this class, the one that everybody will want on their team. Don't matter if you the fucking Lakers, don't matter if you the Nets. Like, you're gonna want Kawhi on your team if you get him. But the thing is, will he? You know what I'm saying? Will he go out and test free agency? Me, I don't think he will. He got a fucking partially torn ACL. You know, he's he's where he wants to be, and that's LA. You know, he got family out there. He got a house out there. He's already won his championships. At this point in his career, you know, I think he's probably just gonna settle down for the Clippers. But, but on the off chance, let's say he does test free agency, I think that 2 to 3 teams that he could sign to possibly is, for one, the Mavs. The Mavs are the ones that have the cap space to get him, and the pieces that he might like. So like him and Luca, I think that they could work out. I think that they would be good together. Um, Another team that he could possibly go to is maybe, just maybe, the Heat. I don't I don't think they could free up enough cap for him, but I think that Kawhi would fit the Heat pretty well. But I don't see him opting out. You know, maybe unless somebody throws him the bag and like more than the Clippers can, but I highly doubt it. So I think that Kawhi stays. Who's next? Mike Conley. All right, this another player right here that I think he stays with his team. There's no reason for Mike Conley to leave. He's, how old is he? He's 33 now. He's not like too old. He's not Chris Paul age, but he's making bread, as you can see. Um, I think that he stays on that team. There's no reason for him to leave. The Jazz are most likely gonna be trying to bring him back because the Jazz don't have money to go and get, you know, one of these other point guards out there. So if Mike Conley goes, you know, the West is already tough. They already lost, you know. They lost to the Clippers. They put up a fight, and then I think that they'll probably try to run it back. And honestly, I think that if it doesn't work out next year for the Jazz, that they might blow it up. They might try to split up Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. One of them is coming off the team. Probably Gobert. They'll probably try to move Gobert for somebody, but I think that if they don't make a noticeable leap next year, um, that they'll probably try to make a big move for somebody. And maybe if things aren't going well by the trade deadline, yeah, I can see them making a move for another big time player if one becomes available. Um, Cause I don't think that the Jazz can get over the hump. But I really think that Mike Conley will come back. They'll bring all their people back for one more year. I heard they're trying to trade Joe Ingles and Bojan, but I don't know. I don't know what they would be trying to move him for. I pictured if they were gonna try to move them, they would move them for like a first round draft pick for this year, but they didn't do that. So yeah, I think that they'll just bring back. I think they'll bring back Conley for one more year, or maybe two, 2 3 more years, depending on how long the contract is. All right, Kyle Lowry. You probably think I'm gonna say that he's gonna resign too. No, I think Kyle Lowry's days are done with the Raptors, and he has a lot of options. And Kyle Lowry has plenty of options. Um, First off, I think the top of his list right now is probably the Heat. I think that that gives him the best chance. He's 35. I think the Heat gives him the best chance to go and compete for a championship still, and still make some money because the Heat have a little bit of cap room, but they don't have nothing crazy. So um, I think the Heat are a good fit for Kyle Lowry if he really doesn't care too much about winning at this point in his career, and he kind of just wants to, hoop, take it easy, still make the playoffs. I think that he goes to New Orleans and he tries to be that veteran point guard that they need on that team next to Zion, and now they got Valanciunas. I think Kyle Lowry, Brandon Ingram, Valanciunas, Zion. I think that's a solid ass team in the West, to be honest. So if the Pelicans can pull that off, I would make an offer to Kyle Lowry in all season, and I wouldn't give him something crazy, but I would give him something close to what he wants, and lets him like I'll let him know that they got something good there right now if they can stay healthy. Um, but yeah, what else? So I got the Heat, the Pelicans. I'm gonna throw a third team for some of these free agents. I think that maybe maybe Kyle Lowry can end up on the Knicks if the Knicks get desperate and they just say fuck it. I'm gonna throw him a lot of money because the Knicks point guard situation is gross right now. They have Emmanuel quickly. He wasn't even planned to be part of their rotation. He just kind of balled out and got his spot. You got Elfrid Payton, you know, and you got fucking Ntilikina, and that's not a good fucking point guard position. Like that's not where you want to be in terms of one of the craziest positions in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be stuck with fucking Elfrid Payton, Frank, and fucking Emmanuel quickly. You don't want to be stuck with that. So I can see the Knicks offering a lot of these point guards what they're probably looking for. So let's move on to Kyle Lowry's former teammate, Demar Derozan. DeMar DeRozan, he has a lot of flexibility in this off season. I feel like he can go to pretty much any team he wants. And he's one of the very few players that can do that besides like Kawhi. I feel like any team could use somebody like DeMar DeRozan. He can play one through 3. I was gonna say maybe the 4, but he definitely can play 1 through 3. Um, I think his days are definitely done in San Antonio. He's not coming back to the Spurs. I don't see it happening. Um, I just think that him and Coach Pop, they're splitting their own different ways. To be honest. Um, but yeah, as for DeRozan, he can either take the route that I've been seeing, to where he just says fuck the money, he says fuck the money and trying to win a championship. So he goes home, he goes to the Lakers. He plays with Westbrook, he plays with LeBron, he plays with AD, And for DeRozan, I feel like that might be the smartest thing he could do. He made a lot of money in that contract. He made a lot of money in his career. Like, of course, you still want to get paid in the NBA as much as you can, but at some point, you probably want to win a championship. He's 32, I don't know if he signs a big contract somewhere else, that he'll still have enough left to go win a championship in a couple years. I feel like this is his best time to go win a championship with the Lakers. So I feel like that's his number one option. Another option I can see for DeRozan is where else can I see him? I can see him on the Mavs too. I can definitely see him on the Mavs, but I don't know. I think that he most likely does take that that kind of minimum deal, maybe mid-level exception. I don't know what the Lakers cap is looking like. Let's see. Maybe they can offer him a mid-level exception. But yeah, DeRozan, I think at this point in his career, he goes and he tries to win. So I pretty much can see him going to the Lakers. Their cap is going to be very low. I could have swore they traded KCP too. Yeah, they did. Okay, I know I wasn't tripping. So they have a lot of open spaces on their roster, bro. A lot. 1, 2, 3. Those roster spots are gonna be gone. Look at all these free agents that they have to bring back. So yeah, if you kind of want to go vet heavy, yeah, I think they'll try to pursue him, but they'll just let him know straight up, like, we can't offer you a lot. Or he can go to the other LA team. He can go join the Clippers. He's still in LA. He still has a chance to win a championship on that team. He can be there in the beginning. He can be beside Paul George until Kawhi gets back, and then he can kind of be that third option. He can be their point guard. I know DeMar DeRozan, he can play point guard. So yeah, that would be interesting. But yeah, either way, I think he most likely ends up in LA for either one of those teams. Um, Otto Porter. Otto Porter, I seen he's accepting minimum contracts. So what that means to me is that he's either he's either gonna go to a contender, um, and try to win a championship, be like, like a bench piece, some rotational player, maybe even one of those players that get minutes in the playoffs for one of those contending teams. But or he can take a mid-level exception on a trash team for 1 year, ball out, get his stock up, and try to get more money. But he's not ever gonna make as much money as he did on that contract that he had, because that was ridiculous. There's no way he should have been making that much money. Don't get me wrong, I'm a Bulls fan. I see what Otto Porter can do. He's a great player, but he just can't stay healthy. So, me personally, I wouldn't throw a lot of money at Otto Porter. So him saying that he's gonna take that mid-level exception for a team, um, you know, that's the smart thing to do. He can end up in LA too. He can end up, he can end up on the Nets. He can end up in Milwaukee. Um, but yeah, most likely a contender for Otto Porter. If I had to pick one team, I think that he would go to, um, most likely Brooklyn. Most likely Brooklyn on that one of those minimum like deals. Cause they really needed wings, like two-way. They needed defense and they needed like more shooting. So Otto Porter will give you both of those things. So most likely Otto Porter will end up on the Nets. To me, come Monday or Tuesday, whenever he decides to sign. This is the interesting. This guy's interesting right here. I don't know. I don't know what his plans are. I know he's hurt. He's coming off an injury. Um, but I don't know. I don't know what his thoughts are. Me personally, if I was him, I would stay in Miami. Um, there would be no reason for me to, you know, move. That's where you wanted to be. That's what I heard. At least, no matter what, even if the Pacers didn't trade him to Miami, I heard that he was gonna sign in Miami this offseason. So I feel like he'll most likely sign back. He's not gonna get as much money as he probably would have if he would have stayed in Indiana and probably played a little better, stayed healthy. Um, he probably would have made a little bit more money, but now he's gonna have to take a salary hit because not only is he hurt, but he didn't play that well last year. So most likely he'll come back to Miami, be a piece for them. Depending on who they get, I think that he can still play shooting guard, even though he transitioned to more like a point guard. So I feel like the Heat will be targeting a point guard. Like I said, Kyle Lowry. I think that's at the top of the list. But yeah, I think that he goes back. If he doesn't go back, then the only reason why I see he would leave is if he gets a contract bigger somewhere else than Miami. That's the only way I feel like he'll leave, but that's not likely to happen. I think Miami will most likely be where he stays. Goran Dragic. Okay. Now I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be spot on with this. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty positive I'm gonna be on the money with what happens to Goran Dragic. First of all, I think that he doesn't come back to the Heat. Um, you know, they have an option to pick up his $19 million contract for the year. He's 35. I'm not doing that if I'm the Heat. I'm gonna say no. I'm not taking your contract. It was fun. It was nice having you for all these years being a vet. I'm not taking your contract. You're more than welcome back on the team if you're willing to take a big, like, money cut in order to be on this team and help us out. But honestly, he'll lose his starting spot, and he's losing money. So if I'm going Dragic, and I'm 99.9% sure this is what he'll do, he'll end up on the Mavericks. He'll end up next to Luca. Um, they're close, you know. I'm pretty sure they played on the same national team. You know, they have chemistry. They just know each other. I feel like Goran and Luca, would be decent next to each other. They need a point guard anyways to take a little bit of the load off of Luca. Um, I don't know what the Mavs plan on doing with Porzingis, but I'm 99% positive that Goran Dragic, if he doesn't come back to the Heat, that he'll end up on the Dallas Mavericks, and probably for not a lot of money. You know, he's still on a playoff team. He can contribute. He'll probably start. So I think that's probably the best fit for him. All right, Tim Hardaway. Now, y'all probably gonna call me crazy for this, but he got drafted, right? He got drafted by the Knicks. Okay. Okay, let's see his career history, right? He got drafted by the Knicks. All right. He got traded to Atlanta. He played 3 years in Atlanta. No, he played 4 years in Atlanta. He got traded to Dallas, right? So I think that Tim Hardaway, he is back up on the Knicks. He is back up on the Knicks again. I heard the Knicks on him back. So I just think that, you know, I don't know. I think that he's just kind of attached to that team. I feel like the Knicks really probably gonna want him there. They're probably gonna pay him. Um, Call me crazy, but I really think that's what's gonna happen with him. Unless he resigns with Dallas, those are the only two real places I can see Tim Hardaway. Is either he'll go back to the Knicks or he'll resign. Um, but yeah, I'm just kind of laughing on the inside about that because I've been hearing a lot about they've been interested. And it's like, bro, y'all had him, you know. Y'all didn't give him a chance. Y'all kind of sucked. Dennis Schroeder, he's asking for bank. He's asking for bank this all season. And who the fuck is going to give him it? I think he's asking for like 150. Let's see. Let's see what Dennis Schroeder's asking for. Let's just see. I don't even know how to spell his fucking name, bro. I'm just gonna say the fucking seeking contract. I just want to see what he's. Okay, see, look. He's looking for something in $100 million to $120 million range for a contract. 120 mil. 15 points a game. 120 mil for 15 points a game. Who's dumb enough to pay him that? The New York Knicks. That's all I'm gonna say about that. That's all I'm gonna say about that. New York Knicks. Evan Fournier. I think that Evan Fournier, he's been in the Eastern Conference his whole career. He goes west. He ends up on that Grizzlies team. I definitely see Evan Fournier ending up on that Grizzlies team. Let's pull up Cap Tracker. They're number one in cap space. I really feel like he'll end up there. They need spacing. Ja, he loves his shooters around him. I think he could be a solid piece next to John Dillon Brooks. So yeah, I think Evan Fournier ends up on the Grizzlies this offseason. Let's see who else. BP, Bobby Portis, Mr. Squidward, whatever y'all want to call him, fan favorite, spark plug, whatever, he get down and dirty. I know that for a fact because I'm a Bulls fan. I seen it with my own eyes. He a dog. So the Bucks have a choice to make. He declined his player option because he feels like he's gonna, he's betting on himself basically. He's gonna go and try to get money that he deserves. I don't think that the Bucks bring him back, even though it would be smart to. They should. They really should because fans. I mean, Bucks fans would be like, why did you let BP go? You know, and I would be mad if I was a Bucks fan, but they just drafted um, Sandro. If y'all don't know who Sandro is, he's a 7-foot power forward. He can do it all. They got him in the second round. I feel like they did that so they don't have to pay Bobby. You know, they can easily plug in Sandro off the bench and he'll be nice. A nice piece for them. So as for Bobby though, I don't know where he goes. I'm sure I have a lot of interest. Let's see. Um, he can go. He can go to the. Nah, they don't have enough cap for him. Let's see. I don't see him going to Detroit. He's not going back to the Knicks. Uh, maybe Cleveland. Maybe just because they might pay him. Um, they just got Mobley. Jared Allen. Jared Allen free agent. We'll look in a second. I don't know if Jared Allen's a free agent though. He could end up in Charlotte. Where else could he end up? I don't know. Maybe he will resign with the Bucks. Maybe they'll be like, we'll give you a certain amount of money. Oh, this will be a good fit. Portland. Portland will be a great fit for Bobby Portis. I don't know if he ends up there, but I think that's a solid fit for Bobby Portis. Zach Collins is always hurt. Zach Collins, he can take Zach Collins' spot. What they want Zach Collins to be, Bobby Portis can be for that team. Danny Green, I think he re-signed to Philly. There's no reason for him not to. Iguodala, I don't know what the fuck's gonna end up with him. Let's talk about Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre. I feel like that. I feel like Kelly Oubre. A lot of teams could use somebody like Kelly Oubre. He struggled in the beginning of the season shooting the ball. He was terrible from the three. Absolutely trash. Look, but he stepped it up a little bit at the end of the season. He got it up to 31. He was shooting probably like 25 in the beginning of the season. 31 isn't great either, because you want to be in like at least 35 like he was the season before. But yeah, he improved a little bit. He's a solid rebounder, defender. Just doesn't shoot the ball well, and I think that he'll fit somewhere good, like the Spurs. I think he can fit on the Spurs with Coach Powell. He kind of likes players like those that can shoot decent, but not like great. They just rebound. They can slash. They play hard. They play fundamental. Like they already have players there like Keldon Johnson. DeJounte Murray's not a great 3-point shooter. I feel like they just get a lot of players like that. So I think he'll fit, nicely as a replacement for DeRozan once he leaves, So I think that Kelly Oubre goes to the Spurs. I was going to do like every free agent, but like, come on, James Johnson, Cody Zeller, does that matter? No. Will Barton, he resigns. JJ Redick, I already know he's gonna go back to a contending team. He could go back to fucking Philly. He could go to Philly. He could go to Miami on a low deal. He could like Miami to replace Duncan Robinson. I don't know if the Heat would be interested in bringing back Duncan Robinson. So JJ Redick could be a good replacement. JJ Redick can go to the Nets too. He can be a shooter there. And a lot of these teams, when you when you have a player like in their late 30s, like JJ Redick, which is a lot of what this free agency is, just a lot of older players. They're gonna want to go try to compete now, especially with how stacked these teams are with such a small window. Like the Nets have a really small window to win a championship, um, and so does the Lakers. Before LeBron gets really old, and who knows what the fuck goes on with AD. He's always hurt. Westbrook is there. So I feel like if you're in your late 30s and you have, you know, an ability to help a team out, you're most likely gonna go to a contender this all season. So expect a stacked team. Expect a lot of stacked teams for the finals. JJ Redick also, he can end up on the Bucks. That's a solid fit too. Especially Brent Forbes. Brent Forbes could leave the Bucks, so that's another shooter. Um, Kelly Olynyk, I think he stays. Winslow, not a fan of Winslow at all. Patty Mills, I don't see him leaving the Spurs either unless he signs somewhere else for more money. Tony Snell, he's not gonna come back to the Hawks. I don't think he's gonna end up on a random ass team. Another like I don't know how to explain it. He's gonna end up on a random team though, like fucking I don't know, Cleveland, Detroit, somewhere nasty, Indiana. I don't know. So let's talk Spencer Dinwiddie though. He's coming off an ACL injury. He's asking for a lot of money coming off an ACL injury. We don't even know how he's gonna be. We know how he was. He's a 6'6" point guard. He can play defense. He can shoot the ball, facilitate score. A great player to have on your team. But where does he go? He has options. He has plenty of options. He can go to Dallas too. He can go to Miami. Maybe the Knicks would be nasty and throw him that big contract that he wants coming off ACL injury. But I think he ends up in Washington. I think he ends up playing next to Bradley Beal. They're going to need a point guard. They're not going to want to pay a ton. So I feel like they'll take a risk with somebody like Spencer Dinwiddie. They'll hand the keys over to Bradley Beal. Beal won't have to worry about, the Westbrook shenanigans and shit like that. It'll be Beal's team, But Dinwiddie can play alongside Beal and, Trez and those pieces that they have if they decide to bring back those pieces. Next up, I'll skip Exum. I didn't even know he was on the Rockets. Norman Powell. Norman Powell balled out last season. He showed that he can be a great scorer for any team. He's unrestricted. I expect him to get a little more money than he made last. I expect him to get around 15, 16, 17 range for, the production he put up last year in the offseason. He can help the team out definitely. He's kind of undersized for a shooting guard. He's like 6'3", but he gets buckets. He could come in and help a team out. Let's see. The Kings have a lot of guards. Cleveland has guards. I know I keep saying the Knicks, but it's just like the Knicks are weird. They signed like 5 power forwards last time they had money, so who knows? Dallas would be a good fit for Norman Powell. I'm not gonna lie. So with Charlotte, it would be a good fit for him. But yeah, I just know that Norman Powell's gonna make more money than he did before. So don't be surprised if he gets overpaid. I don't think it would be overpaid considering how he played and considering what he's capable of. Maybe Portland will bring him back. Just depending on how much he gets offered. But yeah, Paul Millsap, I think he resigns. There's no reason for him to leave. He's on a contending team. They get Jamal Murray back next year. You know, he's old. I'm sure he settled in with that team. Ibaka already picked up his player option. He's coming back to the Clippers. Lonzo, he has options. I think that Alonzo, most likely, I'm not just saying this because I'm a Bulls fan, but I know how much the Bulls have been interested in Lonzo. Um, and I feel like it's mutual. He's good friends with Zach LaVine. We've been trying to get him for a while. I think he signs that deal, see if the Pelicans matches it. Maybe the Pelicans will want to do a sign and trade you know, with Lauri Markkanen for Lonzo. But the Celtics would be interested too in Lonzo because they don't have a point guard. They're gonna be out looking for a point guard. I don't know how they're gonna afford him because they have a lot of people in their books, and they just traded for Josh Richardson, who has kind of a big contract. He opted in. So yeah, I don't think they can afford Lonzo. The Knicks are up there too. They need a point guard. They're probably willing to pay more for Lonzo, to be honest, but I don't know. It all depends on where he wants to go. So I think Lonzo ends up, you know, on the Bulls. Lou Will's tired of moving all around. He's gonna stay in Atlanta. He's gonna just take that vet role. He's tired of being on 50 million teams all the time. Fucking Felicio, get that nigga out the league. Send that nigga to China. PJ Tucker, he resigns. There's no reason for him to leave. They probably want to run it back with him. He'll take, a small contract. That's nothing to PJ Tucker. He's never been a big money player anyways. He played overseas. He has one of those stories, to where he grinded hard to get into the league. I don't think he's going to be picky about his contract. He might make a little more just because, the pay has gone up. So he might make a little bit more. D Rose. It's a dream, bro. It's a dream. If he goes back to Chicago, bro, y'all won't hear the end of it from me. But I think D Rose have a lot of options this year. It just all depends on what kind of money he wants to make. He can make more money, this year because he's shown that he still has basketball left in him. He helped out that Knicks playoff team a lot, especially in the Hawks series. He get him a few wins against the Hawks, He kind of carried them. So D Rose will have a lot of options, I hope he comes back to the Bulls, but I think I can't say next. I think the best option for him will be the Clippers. I think the best option will be the Clippers, and maybe he'll go to the Celtics too if they like him. Let's see. I want to skip a few of these free agents because it's like, man, y'all really care about them now. Lauri Markkanen, 24 years old, restricted free agent. Personally, if I'm the Mavs, I'm interested. Kristaps just ain't been it for them, and what they want out of Kristaps is what Lauri can do if he's healthy. He can shoot. He's aggressive. He can rebound a little bit. I feel like he would just be a better fit next to Luka, and I feel like that would be good for his career. So, maybe he ends up. Either way, I feel like he'll end up in Texas. He'll either end up on the Mavs or the Spurs. I feel like those are the kind of two best fits for Lauri if we don't sign and trade him to the Pelicans for Lonzo. So, yeah. Lauri, he has options. A lot of teams can use somebody like him. He's a stretch big. He's 7 foot. Like, he's a good player. He's only 24, Like, I just don't think that he's in our plans because, we're kind of shifting into trying to win now. And once you've been somewhere for so long, I feel like that kind of limits your potential. So, I feel like it'll be good for him to go somewhere else. And that'll be good for us, too, to get, he's expecting like 20 mil, 20 mil a year. We can't afford that, so we're going to get him out of there. Daniel Tice, Great, great defender. Let me tell y'all right now, Daniel Tice is underrated. He'll play hard. He plays great defense, bro. He can shoot. He can finish. Like he's underrated, bro. I would love to have Tice back, but literally any team in the NBA, any team, I'm not exaggerating, any team in the NBA could use somebody like Daniel Tice. Um, I think he makes a decent amount of money this offseason, probably more than some people would expect, but he is a good player. Like, he really is. Um, if I'm him, I go to a semi-contender team. Like, maybe he goes to Atlanta. Um, where else? Nah, not Philly. Maybe Utah, if they have money for him. I don't know. Oh, he can go to the Suns. He can go to Suns. I think that would be a great fit for him too. But yeah, I think any team could really use Daniel Tice. He's gonna just probably do his best for him. He's probably gonna have offers from damn near every team in the NBA. So yeah, Nerlens Noel. Um, he has a limited role. Like he's just a defensive big. I'm not saying he's bad, but you know what you're gonna get out of him. He's just the rim protector. He'll run the floor, finish, you know, lob catcher, roller, rim runner, all that shit. So I don't know. I don't know where he ends up. Um, Enes Kanter, great rebounder, and in my opinion, he's a underrated offensive player. Enes Kanter can really score the ball. Y'all probably think I'm crazy, but like he can really score the ball. Don't think he gets a big contract. He definitely is gonna make more than what he made this year, which is almost 5 mil, which is nothing for somebody that can really be making a lot more money. But if the NBA market isn't that deep for him, I'll go to a contender. To be honest, if I was in his can, that's probably the best option for him. Um, you know, he can contribute right away. I don't know, like maybe I'll go to the Clippers if I was him too. Um, where else? Let's see where else he can end up. Clippers. He can end up. He can end up in Atlanta too. Um, maybe Detroit, Milwaukee. Um, maybe the Raptors. The Raptors are trying to move from Siakam, so I don't know. Rashawn Holmes. He's probably one of the most interesting people in this draft. I mean, not draft class, in this free agency class. He had the best year of his career. He showed a lot. He showed that he can do a lot. Let's look at his stats for this year. All right, so 14 points a game, 1.5 blocks. 8 rebounds. He even showed that he might shoot a little bit. Like, he's just a good player. He's a solid player. You know, I can see him on the Raptors. I can see him on the Wizards. I can see him. See him in Dallas. I can see him. I can definitely see him in Charlotte. That's actually a good fit. I think he might end up on the Hornets. Let's see. Yeah, I think that might be it for all these vets. Melo, Laker, obvious. John Collins. I think it's obvious that he resigns. They're gonna pay him. He's gonna stay there. He's gonna keep building with Trae Young. Like, he has no reason to leave. So I think John Collins resigns. Jeff Green, he'll probably come back to Brooklyn. Dwight Howard, he has options. I think it's kind of either or with him. He can stay in Philly. He can go back to LA, or he can go to Brooklyn. Like, he has 3 options, to be honest, in my eyes. Like, he's just gonna be on one of those championship contending teams, no matter what. He's not gonna sign for less. But yeah, man, I don't know. Gary Trent Jr. I think they'll match whatever he gets offered, so he'll stay on that team. Duncan Robinson is gonna end up. Um, Duncan Robinson will most likely end up either on the Knicks because they're just greedy. They have the money to sign him, so they will sign him. He's a shooter. Like, I think they'll just do that because, fuck it. Or he'll go to Dallas and just be that kind of floor spacer that Luka can look for. You know, or maybe looks for a contender. So I don't know. Drummond is trash. I don't want to talk about Drummond, to be honest. I feel like I'm missing somebody that I just looked at. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really. Yeah, the rest of these players are whatever to me. It's gonna be interesting though. It's gonna be real interesting. You know, on Monday to see what these teams get. He's I'm dead, bro. But yeah, man, it's gonna be real interesting. Come Monday, I want to see where a lot of these players end up. I think the NBA is really gonna be changing, and next season is probably gonna be one of the best seasons yet. So yeah, man, I'm gonna come back after free agency. I'm gonna see, what I got right, what I got wrong. And I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna talk about what I think these NBA teams are doing, if it's good or if it's bad for their team. So yeah, we'll be back, man. Just make sure y'all tune in.